time for that taxi to pull up, and Joe, the Bryant Insurance guy, is going to get out right here on your Look at the Leader Q94.7 during your Smart Hardware 8 o'clock hour. It is the Smart Hardware 8 o'clock hour. When it comes to all your lumber, plumbing, painting, I mean, you name it, landscaping, all the way down the nuts and bolts, they've got you covered. Smart Hardware on Park Road 36, East Side, PK Lake, bringing the 8 o'clock hour. All right, we're going to turn our attention to Joe, the Bryant Insurance guy, and this morning, something that us as people in the Lake Country have dealt with.
Yes, we have.
And something that we don't want to ever deal with again.
But we've already had our turn.
Yes, we've had our turn, and we don't want any more of it. But just in case it does happen again, you got to be prepared, and that is wildfires. Because around here, as we saw, I mean, one little thing can cause half of the world to burn up.
Exactly. Yeah, it is wildfire season again. It's coming up upon us. Hard to believe. I think they said, now this, of course, is a DFW number, but it said that we've gotten, I want to say, over 3.5 inches of rain so far this month, which is way above the normal 1.5 inches. And it's very nice to drive down the shoulders and the byways and the highways and see all the greenery on the side of the road. It's great. I love the fact that I got to mow my yard once a week. That's awesome. But we all know that can change in a heartbeat. And as the weather patterns shift, as the jet stream shifts a little bit, we start bringing in some of that dry heat coming out of the plateaus of Mexico. It's going to start drying up, and as soon as the grass starts drying down and the winds start kicking up, wildfire season comes around. So wanted to just go through a few things with you, the folks today, to just kind of let them know some things that they can do to help themselves in a wildfire situation. Now, for those that are living on the interior streets, your first, second, third and fourth, Cherry, all that good stuff. Wildfire sweeping through town, probably not a huge concern. But for the folks that are out, say, Bunker Y, 16 South, 16 North up by Loving, all that good stuff, these are some things you may want to, concern yourself with. Construction. Obviously, you can't rebuild your house now, but if you're going to build a house and you're going to build a house that's in what we call a PPC 10, 9 or 10, or an unprotected area, typically 7 to 8 miles or more away from the local fire department, you want to try to build your house construction-wise with things that are non-combustible. Metal buildings are great. Stone veneer, brick veneer, things like that. Metal roofs, which we'll get into here in a minute, are also great. Metal roofs are actually really good because as those embers kind of fly through the air, you want them to land on a surface that's non-combustible. And so as much as help as you can do with that, the more help, the better. Things like decks on the ground, wooden decks, if you can wrap those in any type of non-combustible material, or at least get those away from your house. So gosh forbid if those do start going up, they're not going to burn your whole house down. So construction is one thing. Again, the other thing we just talked about it, roofing is another thing you want to look at. Years and years ago, the style was to have wood shakes, and it's a real kind of a cool look, kind of a neat look, but terrible for fires.
Yeah, it's not one conducive to keeping fires away.
No, that welcomes the fire. That
Yes.
basically waves the fire on it and says, "Here, come light me up." So if you can have, most roofs around here are asphalt shingle, architectural shingles, things like that. Good roof. Metal roofs are usually better. So if you can have a metal roof on your house, it's going to kind of put you a little bit ahead of the game with that. But, the other thing, even if you've got a metal roof or, asphalt roof, you want to kind of remove all the dead branches hanging over the roof, any chimney branch, any branches that are within 15 feet of your chimney. In the wintertime, those things can go up if you got kind of a crazy fire going. Just basically get all the dead leaves, needles out of the gutters. Cover the chimney outlet if you can with non-flammable screens. So again, gosh forbid some embers go up in the wintertime, they're not going to get things up and going for you. The other thing they define is called a defensible space, which is basically create an area around your house 30 to 50 feet away from your house in the perimeter and get rid of all the undergrowth. Get rid of all the dead brush. Don't stockpile wood. Keep kind of a good perimeter wall, so to speak. Keep the grass down low. Don't store hay next to your house. Like I said, big wood piles, things of that nature. Do as much as you can to kind of go on the defensive and not let that stuff creep up around your house, because again, that's tinder for a fire, and that's just going to just going to cause more problems. Access is another thing. Out in the country, a lot of times you want to make sure that you've got a clear path to your house in the event of a fire, so that the emergency personnel can get in there and fight that fire. So, if you can cut back some of the brush that's maybe hanging over your road, maybe get your gate open, or at least somehow let those fire guys have access to it, so that if a fire does happen, whether it's at your house or in a pasture by your house, make sure that those guys can get there. But it's a good idea to have street numbers, or have some kind of numbering or some kind of system that you can. So, for example, if you see that a fire starts either in your home or in the grasslands around your house, you can at least tell them, hey, it's the White House on the hill, or I'm 2 houses down from this structure, or what have you, so that, yes, it's easy to see a blazing fire at night, but sometimes if the fire's in a house that you really can't see it, you can't see smoke during the night. So you want to make sure that that you have clear landmarks, clear access to your home. The other thing is, as a wildfire is approaching, you want to make sure you got an escape plan. Much like having an escape plan out of your house, you want to make sure that you've got kind of an escape plan out of the area in case a fire starts. I think it was probably a year or so before the big fires that we had around here. We had a fire out at our place. Somebody was doing some welding, ended up cutting a metal fence pole with a torch, and sparked a nice little fire, nice little grass fire. And I'm telling you, that sucker went quick. Out there just with buckets wasn't going to do it. So you want to make sure that you have a clear escape plan, that you've got a way to get out. The last thing you want to do is get trapped in the middle of it, and then you become a fatality.
It seemed like when we had those fires, one of the big things that I remember some of the sheriffs, fire department guys were talking to us about were the amount of stuff that people had around their houses.
Yep.
There was one house that a guy had been, for some reason, taking all of his old tires and keeping them around the house. Yeah. Well, those things lit up.
Right.
There was some folks that had some vehicles that were sitting around the house that, for whatever reason, weren't being used, that lit up. I mean, things like this that a lot of times, I guess, we never think about those fires coming through, which could prolong or make the fire worse or bring it closer to our house.
Exactly. We actually work with a few companies that really take a proactive approach. One of the companies that we work with that's really good is Crump. I think it's Crump has a program that in the event, and we saw a lot of this back when the fires came through here, a lot of your homes, high-value homes out in the lake area, that they will actually send a team out to basically protect your home. And one of the things that they will do is if there's a fire that's approaching or it's in the area, you can request that they come out, and they'll actually clear the underbrush that 30, 50 feet away from your house, but they will actually take a proactive approach and spray your house with a foam that is designed to keep, if those embers land on any surface of the house, that it's going to prevent the house from going up. A lot of people say, well, hey, that's a pretty expensive cost. And you're right, it is an expensive cost, but the insurance company would much rather pay that cost than have to foot the bill for, $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million home. So keeping that area around the home clear of debris is key in that situation. Keep it out away from the house so that, gosh forbid, something happens. It is wildfire season and people need to be aware of that. But the other season, too, is, sitting on the back porch with a campfire going. That's the other thing. If you've got a fire pit out in the backyard, those things can get away from you. You want to keep that away from your house, and just play it safe and be good, and make sure that you're prepared. The old Boy Scout motto.
One of the things that I remember during those wildfires that people need to be seriously aware of is that when you see the fire coming, there's no way you can tell how fast that thing's moving. Nope. If you're in the sight of that fire, we had so many people that the sheriff's department had to walk in and forcibly move from their house.
Right, exactly.
Your life is not worth a few things in your house.
Nope. It's not.
That's why you have insurance.
Exactly.
Because when you do lose those things in a fire, that's why you have the insurance. There's no use trying to stay there and be a hero and save things because you're not going to.
You know, the other thing to consider too, guys, is we run into a lot of folks that live out in the country, out in the hinterlands, out by where I do, that they may say, you know what, I can't afford insurance. I don't have home insurance. You know what? Your life is still not worth losing your house.
Right.
I mean, let your house go. You know, you'll eventually find something else. You will, lean on friends, lean on family to get you back up on your feet. But losing your life in a fire trying to stop it, it ain't worth it. Typically in wildfire season, we do see high winds. And I'm telling you, those winds can shift. They can move quicker than you think. And especially if you've got that dead grass and that tinder, it's going to get up and going on you pretty quick.
Yeah, so don't try to be a hero. Just remember that fire is moving fast, and we've seen that here. Now, Joe, folks need to get a hold of you and ask questions on how do I up my insurance or maybe get my insurance reevaluated, how they do that.
Sure, it's real easy. 549-2525. Give us a call, set up a time, let us come in, bring your stuff in, let us take a look at it, take a look at the coverage that you have now, let us make some recommendations, see about maybe getting you a better value for your money kind of a thing. And, at the end of the day, let's just make sure you're kind of covered the way you need to be.
So get it done at Bryant Insurance, second floor of the Sierra Bank Building, and give them a call, 549-2525. Joe, appreciate your time, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Rick.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All right, we got Three Dog Night, Rick Derringer, to keep things rolling here on your Smart Hardware 8 o'clock hour, so stick around.